Hey guys, and recently in the Direct, we got the confirmation of Nintendo Switch 2 Edition games, which are basically upgrades of Switch 1 games that adds various things like higher resolution and frame rate, which will be possible on the Switch 2, as well as new content, like Kirby and the Forgotten Land got Star-Crossed World, and Super Mario Party Jamboree got Jamboree TV, which adds mouse controls and the camera support and mic support as well to the game. So they're adding a variety of different things. These aren't really like ports of Switch 1 games. Some people were a bit misled by that. These are basically like glorified DLC that also makes the games run better on the Switch 2, that are also getting standalone releases on the Switch 2, so you can just upgrade your Switch 1 games. But I think there are a lot of games that could definitely take advantage of this thing that Nintendo is doing, and there's definitely a lot of things that I hope Nintendo does with these Switch 2 Edition games. A lot of games that I really hope are covered in the future under this. But before we get started, I wanted to mention that I have a goal to hit 30,000 subscribers before the Nintendo Switch 2 launches, so if you enjoy my content, consider subscribing, and if I hit that goal, I will give away a copy of Mario Kart World. I also wanted to mention that all the games that I will be predicting or hoping for in this video will likely get 4K or 60 FPS upgrades if they get Switch 2 editions, so I'm not going to mention that every time I predict or hope for a game here, because I think that goes without saying. All of the games that we've seen Switch 2 editions for are getting some kind of frame rate or resolution bump, so I think that's definitely something that will kind of be implied with each of these. But the first game that I really hope gets a Switch 2 edition is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. If you know me or have been watching my channel for a while, you probably know that I was gonna say this. But I really want this game to get more attention, I want it to sell even better. I mean, I know it's already been selling decently well, but I think it could sell even better, and I think a Switch 2 version is definitely a good way of boosting those sales even more. And there was an unused 4K mode that was data mined, and that might mean that Thousand Year Door could just get a free update that enables 4K, they might not go through with the whole like Switch 2 edition, and I would definitely be fine with that. But I definitely think there is the possibility here. The Thousand Year Door remake finished development in summer 2023, like almost a year before it was released. So there is a possibility that they could have been developing a little side mode or a Switch 2 version of the game, like, over the past year and a half. So I definitely think there is a possibility that we could get this. I mean, they might have been using that time to develop a new Paper Mario game entirely, but even if they do like a small little new mode in a Switch 2 edition of Thousand Year Door, that would still be really nice. It would still be like a little thing that kind of keep us waiting until the next Paper Mario game that will likely release in like 2028. I mean, it might be 2027 due to Thousand Year Door finishing development a year early, but if they are like taking a little longer developing a new Paper Mario game, it might be nice having that little bit of extra content in Thousand Year Door. And I think there's a lot of possibilities. I know most people will probably say, like, a Luigi side story, like Luigi and the Marvelous Compass, and while that would be incredible, and I would love that, I don't really think it's that likely. I know the Luigi thing in general was kind of, like, treated like a joke or like a gag in Thousand Year Door, so I'm not sure if Intelligent Systems would want to make it its own thing. I mean, they could, but I don't really see them doing that. I could possibly see them doing a couple things. Either like a epilogue side story that kind of builds off of Thousand Year Door and kind of explores like what happens after the events of the game. But another idea that I have that I think would actually work really well is a new Pit of 100 Trials. In this time, it would be a roguelike version of it. Kind of similar to the mods like Black Pit for Paper Mario 64, or Infinite Pit or Tower of Trials for Thousand Year Door. Something like that. I think it would be really cool if you could just like get upgrades and then keep going through the Pit of 100 Trials. And of course this would be like a new one. Maybe they could like put it in a different location And I also think they could add like a bunch of new enemies as well. I think it would be amazing to see like either more Mario enemies, or completely original enemies, or other enemies from the Paper Mario series in the Thousand Year Door battle system. I think that would be incredible, and I really hope they do that. Like, there's a lot of possibilities that they could do with this. And I think that would be amazing. They could also add, like, new badges as well, like, of course, for, like, rewards, or just going through the pit in general. It would make sense to have, like, new badges and things, like, maybe partner versions of certain badges, like Spike Shield, and different things. There's a lot of, like, All or Nothing as well. There's, like, a lot of badges that should get partner versions that somehow didn't get partner versions in the remake, so I really hope they do that. And they could also add, like, some new attacks as well. That would also be really cool. And then one other thing that I think would be nice to see in a Switch 2 edition of the Thousand Year Door remake is, like, the Bossatronic boss replay mode that Origami King had. I am actually really surprised that the remake didn't add that. Like, since the remake did add a lot of things that Origami King and Color Splash had, so I'm kind of surprised that they didn't do that. So I really hope they add that in. I mean, they might even add that if they do like a free update thing for the Switch 2, and that they have that like available for all versions, since that is like such a small thing to add. But I think it would still be really cool regardless of how they do it. So I am just really hoping that Thousand Year Door is one of the games that gets a Switch 2 edition. And the next game is another game that I've been playing quite a lot lately, and that is Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. This is another game that had a data mine, and this time it was like a 60 FPS data mine. So once again, this could just be a free update that this game could get, but I think there is a possibility that they could do a Switch 2 edition of this game. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are similarly huge open world games, and they didn't add like too much. They added like the smartphone support thing, which, I mean, it kind of sounds weird at first, but some of the things you can do are actually pretty interesting. Like, they have like this little GPS thing where it kind of navigates you to the different things, or it shows like Zelda's memories and different things. I mean, they are adding like a couple cool things in there. I don't think it's a $10 upgrade, but I don't know. I mean, it's included with the expansion pack, so I'm gonna try it out, but I think Xenoblade X could definitely get something kind of similar to that. But for this, I think they could add an online multiplayer update. Basically, they could add, like one thing that I was a bit confused about with online multiplayer in this game is if you could basically kind of walk around the world, or like battle enemies or explore the world with friends. And that isn't entirely the case. You could recruit your friend's build, or you could do like little missions along with a friend, but you can't really actually like explore the world out with a friend. But I think that might be a bit more possible, and like an incentive to do for like a Switch 2 version of this game. I think that would be really nice if they did something like that, like a free roam multiplayer mode. That would definitely be a great incentive to get people to buy the Switch 2 version. That would actually be huge. It doesn't even sound like much, and like in reality, they wouldn't even be adding that much. But still, that would add like a ton of potential to the game. Like, I had another idea. They could even add like free roam side quests. I mean, like, it would make sense, because I mean, it would be kind of hard for things actually tied to the game to do with friends, like story missions. That would kind of be hard. But like, if they did like a bunch of side quests that were like exclusive to, I mean, maybe not to like the 100% the actual game, but like as like a side thing, you could like do certain side quests with friends. That would be amazing. I think that would be really cool. Or just like just doing things in the world in general. Like maybe certain friends could have like if one has like a skill already, they could help you find some of the FN sites that are like out of reach when you don't have like a skill or the flight module yet. That would be cool. Or just getting like exploring different areas. Even though like I know like there's like a lot of side quests and content in the game, but even just like roaming around and discovering things like the FN sites, or like new locations and items and enemies and things, that alone is still just pretty fun in Xenoblade X. So just doing that with friends would be really fun, and I really hope this gets a Switch 2 version if it does something like that. But moving on, we have another Mario RPG, and that is Mario & Luigi Brothership. This game definitely needs a performance boost. Like, it runs well for the most part, but sometimes the game could chug a little bit when there's a lot of NPCs on Ship-Shape Island. So it would definitely be nice to see some kind of, I mean, even if it's a free update, that would be nice. But just, like, something that help that. But I think there's also potential for a new DLC-like mode as well. And my idea is that it could feature Bowser Jr. and Buddy. I think that would be really cool. We already have the Bowser Jr. mode in the Bowser's Inside Story remake, but the difference with my idea is that the gameplay would actually be closer to the main game. It wouldn't be the Bowser's Minions style gameplay that a lot of people had problems with. I guess it would kind of be comparable to Bowser's Inside Story, since you were playing like as Bowser for part of the game there. So I think it would be pretty interesting if you were playing as like Bowser Jr. and Buddy, since they had like that whole story arc in Mario & Luigi Brothership. But basically, you would have like, of course, like the standard moves, and then you would have special Bros attacks like moves called friend moves that would be similar to Bowser's special moves from Bowser's Inside Story and would utilize different minions, like ones with like Goombas or Koopa Troopas, Magic Koopas, different things like that. They might have like some new ones and things. I think that would be really cool. And then there would also be new locations as well that could explore. I know it might be a bit weird with like, since the whole game is about like connecting islands and showing like islands that aren't in the game might be a bit complicated, but they might have some way of like handling that. Maybe they have like smaller islands that are like islands in Concordia, regardless if they're connected or not, because I mean those do exist in Brothership. They're like the little smaller islet things, but they could be like a little bigger than that. And they could do different, or maybe they could even have it on like the island where Bowser's castle is, and they could show like how Bowser is like building the castle throughout the, maybe that's even like one of the things that you have to do in the game. You have to like retrieve certain things to help like Bowser build the castle. They could do something like that. That would be pretty interesting. So they could even have like some kind of tower defense side element to that, where you have to like position Bowser's minions, like maybe you do the normal battling and everything, but you also do like little side quests and things to recruit certain characters to help like fortify Bowser's castle and things from Socket. I think that would be pretty cool. But there could also be like other things, like other characters from the Mario & Luigi games appearing in these different locations, like Broke Monsieur or Popple. Different ones like that would be pretty cool. Just some of them appearing in Concordia, like they somehow made their way over there. That would be pretty cool. Maybe even like a new villain working for Socket, or like, as well as the Extension Core. They could have, I mean, they could have like individual fights for like X and Shun. I think because 10 had like an individual one, but X and Shun didn't have like individual ones. They could do something like that. That would be really cool, but I definitely think there's a lot of potential for Mario & Luigi Brothership, a Switch 2 version, because I think the game already had potential for DLC anyway. But the final game I have an idea for a Switch 2 edition is Pikmin 4. This game really should have gotten DLC, but I guess like now is like a good opportunity for it to get DLC, because I mean, I was hoping Kirby and the Forgotten Land would get DLC, but now we're getting like the Star-Crossed World for the Switch 2 edition, so I'm pretty happy about that now. But now, I really hope that happens with Pikmin 4, because there's a lot of things that they could do. I mean, for one, they could add mouse control support. I mean, it might work a bit weird, but I could kind of see them doing that in Pikmin, since you have to like move around, or like basically position where you want to throw the Pikmin, or like whistle and different things like that. So I think mouse mode support could work for that. And I think they could also add like new Dandori missions, or like some new areas, like little side stories that kind of build off of the main story, like other little things. Like a new location would be pretty cool. As well as some online Dandori battle. Why didn't we get that in the game? That is such a missed opportunity. Like online Dandori battles, that would be pretty fun. As well as like actually adding Bingo Battle into the game, or some of the other versus modes from the previous Pikmin games, like kind of separate modes aside from Dandori battles, aside from that, would be pretty cool. Like, just an online Pikmin game would just be so fun in general. I really hope they do that. And also, things like co-op in the main story, like 3 Deluxe, would also be pretty cool as well, and it could support online with friends. I'm going deep into the online element for, like, some of these games, because, like, Switch 2 is... they're promoting that game chat feature a lot, so it would make sense to have, like, more emphasis on, like, the online modes. Like, Jamboree had, like, a ton of emphasis on that, with the Switch 2 version, like, there. So, I definitely think they could do something like that for Pikmin 4, like I was mentioning for Xenoblade Chronicles X. But yeah, I definitely really hope they do a Switch 2 version of Pikmin 4. But anyways, those are my ideas for Switch 2 versions. There are some other games that I want, so if you enjoyed this video, let me know if you want to see a sequel or a follow-up to this, or I can come up with some ideas for more Switch 2 Edition games. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Blue Sky if you want to. Stay perky!